Hari Om. Welcome to this online satsang given to us by our Guruji Swami Nispruh Spandan on the 12th of January 2024. Swamiji starts out the satsang by telling us about the different yugas or eras and that people were more capable of doing sadhana in the previous eras. The era that we are currently in is known as Kriyayog. In this era, people busy themselves more with material aspects rather than spiritual, such as work, money, and family. That is to say that people are more distracted by these things. Often spiritual efforts are postponed until old age. By that time, people realize that they should have been practicing more, some type of spiritual practice. Their body is not supportive enough to conduct the spiritual practice. It has grown weak and may be ailed. Most optimal tool to progress spiritually in this era is by the practice of Nam Jap, chanting the holy name. And the name can be of any deity that one finds attracted towards. But one tool that is also optimal is the practice of Kriya. This practice is one which cannot be found in the external world, books or videos. It can solely be given by the guru to the shishya or devotee, and so it has been passed down in a lineage or tradition of gurus known as Guru Parampara. The Kriya practice itself is kept secret, and only those who have good karma from actions performed in previous lives gain the grace of getting initiated into Kriya Yoga in the current life. Still, even if one has been initiated into Kriya, doing Nam Jap helps one to walk on the path of Kriya and in Kriya Sadhana also. Swamiji continues to the next subject, which is that often people go to saints to ask them whether it is okay to eat a non-vegetarian diet, in the hopes to get the saint to approve their wish to eat a non-vegetarian diet. He imparts a story of Buddha and his disciples. We know that Buddhist monks have begging bowls in which they accept alms from people. One of the disciples of Buddha was begging for alms, and it just so happened that there was a bird flying overhead, carrying a piece of meat in its beak. The bird accidentally dropped it, and it landed straight into the bowl of this disciple. The disciple got confused because Buddha had previously told that whatever is placed into the begging bowl, the disciple has to eat, because the bowl is given by the Paramatma, the Supreme Soul. So he goes to Buddha and asks him, should he eat this piece of meat? It landed in his bowl. And without pause, Buddha tells him that yes, you should eat it. The reasoning for this is that when someone is begging for alms, and he gets something that he doesn't like, he may discard it and eat whatever else was given to him. However, in the spiritual path, one should not have likes or dislikes. Whatever comes in your way, you should accept it and go ahead. Before Buddha's passing, he was offered rotten meat by a butcher into his bowl, and him being Buddha took it as the opportunity to leave his body. After having consumed the meat, he fell ill and left his body. Swamiji tells that all gurus and saints always have to give their teachings very, very carefully, as to not have anyone take any wrong meanings from them as per their convenience. Since Buddha advocated for non-violence, people have took this as to not butcher animals for consumption. However, people still in some Buddhist societies consume meat, where they have vendors who sell meat of animals who have died from natural causes, of old age, or even having died as roadkill. A doctor, lawyer, and a guru are such occupations in which one has to be extremely careful what they say and what they do, because one mistake has the potential to do a lot of harm. Swamiji answers one question which is prominent in some parts of India about wearing a black thread around the ankle. With the notion of warding off negative influences, some people attribute it to Shani Maharaj. He explains why it doesn't make any sense to do this, and explains why a certain tradition was more common in India in the olden days, but not anymore. This tradition was that people used to tie a black thread around the waist of their children. And the logic behind this was that there was one rishi having a bath in the river with his wives, and they were fully nude. And as they were playing in the water, Lord Varun passed them. The rishi was occupied with his play and didn't pay respects to Varun. And Varun was offended by this, and for not getting attention, he cursed the rishi and all his future generations that they would not be able to bathe in rivers or open bodies of water nude without losing their health and duty in the world. And so on. Because it's easier to wash a child when he's naked, people started to tie this black thread around the waists of their children to represent a piece of cloth on the body. Swamiji tells of an incident which is often misrepresented, that when Krishna was a child, he would steal clothes of women who were bathing in the river. People make it sound like this was some ill habit of Lord Krishna, but the reality is that he may have done it only a few times to give a lesson to these people who were bathing naked, for their disrespect to Lord Varun. When the people agreed not to bathe naked, Krishna would return their clothes, so he did this to prevent these people from harming themselves by teaching it in this manner. Other such story, which is often misrepresented, is that in his childhood Krishna used to steal butter and sugar from the people of Gokul, in the village he lived in, and breaking the pots these items were kept in. The reason for this was that Krishna's father had many cows which were producing lots of milk, so they were able to produce lots of butter and ghee from it. And this produce was transferred to the nearby city of Mathura, which was also the capital of the kingdom. Krishna was unhappy with this. All these good things that the village was producing were being shipped to wealthy people outside of the village, and the people of the village would be left with very little. So all these nutritious foods, which should have been for the village, especially the children of the village, were shipped off elsewhere. As a protest, Krishna was doing this. So these two stories exemplify how people don't understand the facts, misrepresent the truth in these stories. They shape it to make it seem like Krishna was no good and causing trouble because he was mischievous, or causing trouble was a virtue because Krishna was doing it. Swamiji continues explaining being worried about one's astrological birth chart, how one could be worried that some planet is not placed well in the chart, so it could harm him or cause trouble in the long run. It is important to do Nam Jap and Sadhana, because once a person has surrendered to the Supreme Lord, there is no such thing as some planet giving you negative outcomes or evil energies affecting you. It is like when a person becomes an employee of a company, that company takes care of the person's allowance, medical care, salary, etc. In some cases, the company takes care of the entire family's medical insurance as well. Same is with the Lord. Once one is surrendered, then there is no reason to worry about these things. To worry about anything, because the Lord is more omniscient and omnipotent than any company in the world. One should not get attached with anything. Everything in this world you can use for your benefit or to harm yourself. One example is love. When you love God, that takes you closer to Him. But love towards a material thing or relationship makes you attached and causes your downfall. Same way is with knowledge, which can take you closer to God, or you can become proud about your knowledge and grow your ego and go astray in this way. Swamiji explains that there is no such thing as right or wrong. It all depends how you use it or think about it. Always ask, what do you want from a certain action and why do you want it? Try to analyze it always. Why and what are you getting out of it? If you use your intellect wisely, it will take you near your liberation, and if you use it wrongly, it'll lead you to your downfall. Swamiji gave an example of Shiva and Sati. When Shiva was insulted by Sati's father, Sati became mortified so that she couldn't bear it and ended her life. Shiva was, however, so attached with Sati's body that he was carrying it with him, and at that time he was also doing his cosmic dance, so Vishnu had to come and use his Sudarshan chakra to make Sati's body into small pieces, which now are known as the Shakti Pithas in India. The point is that even the supreme beings, when they get obsessed with something and fail to see true nature of things, also need to be corrected. Swamiji explains here that don't get stuck with your body, nor anyone else's. As you have come into this human form, you should try to use it to attain mukti or salvation. He continues to tell that as different types of diseases have different types of treatments, different disciples get different practices and mantras based on their current state in this human form. Therefore, never share your sadhana or guru mantra with anyone else. When you keep these a secret and practice diligently, within due time, you will realize that these are taking you towards attainment of the divine, and this is true happiness. Lastly, Swamiji tells that we should all start wearing this black thread around our waists, as taught in the story of Lord Varun. Hari Om. This satsang was given to us by our Guruji, Swami Nispruh Spandan. It was translated from Hindi to English, so it is possible that there are some shortcomings in the translation. If you have any questions or something was difficult to understand, please leave them in the comment section below. If you would like to be initiated into Kriya Yoga, you can contact us in our email nispruhyogkriyayog@gmail.com or by WhatsApp with the numbers +358 451 304884 in English and Finnish, or through the number +358 406 310499 in English and Hindi. This was the Nispruhyog Kriyayog team. Jai Guru, Hari Om.